Space is truly the final frontier. While we've only explored a tiny fraction of what's out there, endless opportunities for exploration exist beyond our home planet. As astronomers continue to explore the universe's limitless questions, what new mysteries have been unraveled? You're watching Matter, and today we're taking a look at 7 mind-boggling space mysteries that scientists have solved. What caused the earliest galaxies to die? Astronomers believe that the earliest stars and galaxies formed not too long after the Big Bang. New data show the earliest stars forming around 50 to 100 million years after the Big Bang, with galaxies forming not far behind that. While astronomers were studying some of the older galaxies of our universe, they noticed something peculiar. Many of these old galaxies no longer appeared to be forming new stars. They were dead. These dead galaxies were a shocker to astronomers. Galaxies normally are very active, with old stars dying and new stars being created frequently. So the fact that so many of these early galaxies had ceased to produce them had scientists worried. When studied closely using the Hubble Space Telescope, they were finally able to find the reason why these galaxies had stopped birthing new stars. There was simply not enough gas or debris left in the galaxy for any more stars to form. They had used up all of their fuel. Stars form from cold gas that fills the interstellar regions of galaxies. But in these dead galaxies, the space between stars was empty. This was the first evidence astronomers found that showed that galaxies can indeed run out of stellar material, and when they do, they die. What caused the gamma-ray sky to form? During the 1960s, a huge amount of new technology and new discoveries were being made by the leading space organizations. But many of these discoveries led to more questions than answers. One of these puzzles that remained a mystery until much more recently was the detection of super bright gamma rays streaking across the sky. Gamma rays are the most energetic and powerful type of radiation produced in the cosmos. Astronomers at the time had no concept of what object in the universe could create such a massive amount of energy, so the problem remained unsolved until further information was found. Today, astronomers agree that there are 2 main sources of gamma rays in the universe, but until recently, it was unknown which one was responsible for these gamma rays. These 2 sources of gamma radiation include supermassive black holes, which give off colossal amounts of radiation while feeding on superheated gas. The other source of gamma radiation, and the most likely culprit here, is from massive stars exploding in supernovas. A supernova occurs when a star with a sufficient mass runs out of fuel and reaches the end of its life. When it runs out of fuel, gravity will cause the star to start to collapse in on itself, which then produces an insanely powerful shockwave that blasts away the outer layers of a star, giving off large amounts of gamma radiation. The mathematical model created to help solve this issue shows that there are more than enough supernovas within star-forming galaxies to account for the amount of gamma rays that were detected. What caused this blip in Hubble's image? When astronomers used the Hubble Space Telescope to get a view of a group of galaxies, something odd around 11 million light-years away from Earth caught their eye. They saw what appeared to be one galaxy with a perfect mirror of itself attached below. Pretty quickly, astronomers knew that this anomaly must have been caused by a phenomenon known as gravitational lensing, where extreme gravitational forces warp light, which alters its appearance to us. But the question still remained regarding what was generating a gravitational force powerful enough to alter the image this much. Nearly 10 years later, astronomers finally found their answer. They began looking in between this distant galaxy and Earth to see what was there. They noticed another galaxy, roughly 7 million light-years from Earth, right along the same path. This ripple in space-time is now believed to be caused by a large cluster of dark matter within that galaxy. Dark matter is invisible to us, yet it makes up nearly 6 times more than the universe's mass than ordinary matter, and aids in keeping galaxies and larger galaxy clusters together. While we still don't know what it is made of, astronomers are able to see its effects all over the cosmos. Where is all the missing matter? When the Big Bang occurred, all the mass that exists within the universe was created in an instant. By scientists' best estimation, the mass of the universe is made up of 68% dark energy, 27% dark matter, and only 5% ordinary matter. This 5% of ordinary matter makes up all the galaxies, stars, planets, and gas that we can see in the universe. Several decades ago, astronomers attempted to find all of this ordinary matter and account for it. But after all of their searching, they were only able to find around half of all the matter that scientists know exists in the universe. It wasn't until 2019 that a team from Australia discovered something new while they were studying fast radio bursts, or FRBs, that were detected as they traveled through the cosmos. They noticed that the signals had been slightly disrupted. The disturbance was more of a smearing of the signal. The team was able to determine that it was caused by tiny elementary particles like electrons interfering with the light as it passed through them. Next, they took several FRBs from different regions and calculated how much mass these signals need to have traveled through in order to be in the state they were in. With this data, they then extrapolated the information to the rest of the universe to calculate how much mass all of these particles put together would be. The number they recovered from their calculations was extremely close to equaling the mass of missing matter. How was this unique nebula formed? Astronomers call this beautiful nebula the Blue Ring Nebula, and it was first discovered in 2004. This is a unique nebula made up of 2 cones of debris moving in opposite directions from the star in its center, and astronomers have never studied one like this before and had no ideas about how it was able to form. It took 16 years before an answer was finally put forward. After constructing complex models, astronomers were able to conclude that this nebula was the result of 2 stars colliding and then merging into one while ejecting much of their mass out to form the blue cloud of gas that our telescopes can see. Finding a nebula formed this way that is only a few thousand years old has helped scientists understand more about interactions between stars and how these fantastic cosmic features form. What is responsible for slowing the creation of stars and galaxies? Astronomers spend much of their time looking out and studying the vast universe we all reside in. During one of these explorations, astronomers wanted to learn more about the different features of galaxies. They noticed anomalies in the galaxies they were studying. There were regions within these galaxies where the rate of star creation was much lower than the rest. What could be disrupting the formation of stars within galaxies? The answer to this question kept eluding scientists for over 20 years. With the help of modern supercomputers, a team of scientists were able to build model galaxies and run countless scenarios of what could be happening within the galaxy. After finishing their simulations, the scientists analyzed all of the collected data and found what was to blame from this disturbance. There were supermassive black holes at the center of these galaxies. The data they found suggested that massive energy injections from the black hole and the rings of superheated gas surrounding it create an environment that is inhospitable to stars forming. How are young stars born? TMC 1A. Stars are some of the most common objects in the universe, with each galaxy containing 100 billion or more stars. But for their prevalence, there is still a lot that scientists do not know about how stars are born and how they were able to feed until they are fully formed. They have never been able to study the birth of a star up close. That has recently changed. Looking towards the constellation Taurus, astronomers in Japan were able to detect a young star being born from a large cloud of gas. They were able to detect two separate regions within the surrounding gas cloud. The outer region of the circumstellar disk collects and falls toward the star, while the inner region of the disk swirls quickly around the star and feeds it. Finally, seeing a star actively being formed has allowed astronomers to learn more detail about it than ever before. There are still questions revolving around how these massive circumstellar disks form, but this is one step in that direction. Planets are also known to form in the disks that surround young stars, so by understanding more about the birth of stars may help scientists understand the processes that formed our own planet. There are many mysteries throughout the universe, and it is a call for celebration whenever one is finally solved. But the more astronomers gaze into the cosmos, the more mysteries they seem to find. Are there any mysteries within our cosmos that you are interested in? Do you think science will be able to answer them all eventually? Be sure to join us next time when we explore more that our universe has to offer. If you watched all the way to the end, we want to say thank you. And if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to hit the like and subscribe buttons so you won't miss any of our future videos.